Hello everyone and welcome back to another quarantine update. In today's update, I'm going to be sharing with you all the current state of my first ever 5th edition D&D campaign and its fast approaching conclusion. But without further ado, let's get right into today's video. Welcome to D20 in Disguise. Alright, so first things first, I'd like to say that along with it being my first ever D&D 5th edition campaign, this campaign which I'm currently running is the first campaign which I'm actually going to complete as a GM or as a player. And I'm really excited for it. It's going to be fun. It's a great group of people. I love them to death. Some of you are probably listening to this right now. Just know that I really appreciate you all. But yeah, I'm really excited for the conclusion. I'm really excited for how it's been going. And I'd just like to share some of my thoughts on that. And some of the things which I've learned throughout this exciting journey. Now I know when I started GMing, before this whole campaign, probably about 3.5 years back, I was very much control freak. I had this story set out. I had a big master plan which I thought was just beautiful as a master plot, but I didn't have any flexibility. I planned out a few branching paths. Oh yes, the players can do this or they can do that, but I really didn't leave things open, and that was my downfall. I was way too attached to what I had planned, and let me just say, this group which I'm now GMing is the perfect group to break that habit. Because, well, excluding 2 characters, all of the players' characters are chaotic neutral. The 2 ones which aren't chaotic neutral are either lawful good or chaotic evil. So, I really have to be prepared for anything. They're the kind of group which, once they take down anything, their immediate thought is, we have to loot the body. No matter the situation, that statement, I'd like to loot their body, has come up a lot of times. And honestly, it really keeps me on my toes. I appreciate it. I appreciate the madness and the just great times which that has brought. Another thing which I've really realized throughout this is that although the GM creates a beautiful story and a beautiful world and beautiful NPCs, that's only half the beauty of D&D. The other half is the story which the players create. Like, for example, a recent session which I just GM'd for this group. I had a plan set out. I planned for about 3-ish days, really fleshing things out, fleshing locations out, fleshing NPCs out, and I felt pretty confident. It wasn't the best session which I had planned. Like, I didn't feel the most confident in my plan, but like I said, I needed to get used to BSing my way out of things and just winging it a bit. You can't plan for everything, but overall, I felt pretty confident about my plan. I felt like it was going to be a decent session. However, all of the crazy interactions between the PCs made the session so much better. 10 times better, 20 times better. It just... The players add personality to the story. They really do. And it's 2 halves as a whole. You need the players and you need the GM. You cannot play the game without either of them. I've also really developed my GMming style over the course of this campaign. I already know I am a storyteller and I am a world builder. I don't go heavy on the rules. I usually just wing it. I know the general rules of D&D 5th edition, but I don't follow them very strictly. In the great words of Barbosa, they're more guidelines than actual rules. I really love the thematic elements and the story and world of D&D, and that you can create anything. That's what I appreciate. I've also realized that because I'm really into the storytelling and the world building of D&D, I might have players which have conflicting reasons of why they play D&D, what they enjoy it for. Like, I know that one player in this group which I'm currently GMing is more interested in the rules than anything else and just goofing off. I don't have anything wrong with that. It's just sometimes we have a small little confrontation, and that's fine. Overall, we get along so well, and it's a great group and great people. I've already said this way too many times, but it's a great group. And there's bound to be conflict. There's bound to be conflict, but what's important is a resolution after that conflict. That you apologize, that you recognize that there was a conflict, that you recognize that, maybe the other person's perspective was more correct than mine. Really keeping an open mind. And that's another thing which makes D&D so beautiful. It's such a diverse group of people which enjoy D&D because you can enjoy D&D for so many different reasons. You can enjoy it for the storytelling, you can enjoy it for the world building, you can just enjoy it for hanging out with friends and goofing off. You can enjoy it for the rules. There's so many different things which you can really enjoy about D&D, and that's what I love about the game. And that's what I really love about just tabletop RPGs in general, because they're all the same in that way. It's your story to create, your world to create, and that is just amazing. Now, more info about the campaign. I'm guessing there's going to be maybe 3 or 4 more sessions in the campaign before the conclusion. If we do 3, I'm going to do 2 normal sessions, and then a super mega session of like the final conclusion of the campaign, which will pretty much include the introduction to the final dungeon of the campaign, the final dungeon of the campaign, and the final boss of the campaign. Probably balancing out at about a 6-hour session, which I usually run like 4-hour sessions, which that's another thing which I've really improved on. I could barely, like when I started this first session, which this campaign started out as a one-shot, and then we turned it into a campaign. That one-shot, I was barely able to like GM without getting super exhausted for like 2 hours. Now I can go for almost 4 hours without taking a break, which it just comes with experience. You just need to GM, and you'll get a lot better at that stuff. But anyway, back to the overall campaign schedule. If it is 3 sessions, it will be 2 normal sessions and a mega session to end the campaign off. Or if we do 4 sessions, it will be 3 normal sessions and then the conclusion of the campaign, the final boss, and a little bit of the final dungeon, the tail end of the final dungeon. Another thing about this campaign which I've really appreciated is that all of the players, except for one of the players, were first-timers. They hadn't played D&D before, they hadn't played a tabletop RPG before, and boy, what was that one shot I was talking about earlier? Insane! Y'all, everyone in the group will understand. Everyone who doesn't know what I'm talking about, what a first session. And I feel like as a group, we've all really been improving over the course of this campaign. I'm gonna say it one more time. All the players are a great group of people. I appreciate them so much. There have been some fluctuations between who's in the actual group. A new player has joined. Another player is hoping to join after this campaign concludes. And 2 players have sadly left the group. But you know, that has also helped me really get used to the process of swapping out players and changing the balance of combat encounters and different encounters as the number of player characters fluctuates, which is just, it's good to be good at that. It's good to be good at the rules and balancing things out. And before, I know, like the one-shot which I first ran before the campaign technically started, I was honestly afraid. Like, I was afraid that I would accidentally kill off player characters because I was giving them, like, too difficult of a combat encounter. So I went, like, really on the light end of things, and it ended up they breezed through everything. And I've gotten a lot better since then. Like, honestly, all of the players in this group are super clever. They're super smart. They outsmart everything, except... The funny thing is, these players outsmart almost all of the combat encounters. Like, they were going through, like, a water-filled cavern, and, like, there were, like, 30 kobolds or something, and they found out that they were photosensitive. So they were sensitive to light. So they just created an orb of light, which was magical, and scared away all the kobolds. And I'm like, wow, I was expecting they would have to fight them underwater, and it was going to be a super hard encounter. But they outplayed me. Though, I don't like to think of it as like they're outplaying the GM. I like to think of it as they're actually outplaying the monsters. Anyway, but this group cannot manage to solve puzzles anytime which I give them one. Like, the first puzzle which I gave them was very simple. It was like a little sliding tile puzzle. It was pretty simple. They figured it out pretty quickly. But oh my gosh, the next two puzzles which I gave them, they struggled on so hard. Like, the first puzzle which I gave them was, they go through this dark corridor, and at the end of the corridor is a dead end, and there's a plaque on the wall, and it says, keep your eye on the wall. And if they were to turn around and go the other way, it would be another dead end. So they're stuck in this weird double dead end corridor. And the simple solution of the puzzle was to walk backwards, keeping your eye on the plaque. They tried a lot of things. One of the characters ran their head up against the wall at full force, taking bludgeoning damage. Another character tried to pray to their god for guidance, and they had a hallucination instead. Another player tried to melt the plaque with acid. Another player tried to stand on their head looking at the plaque. Like, they do that crap, and then they circumnavigate completely the most difficult and coolest combat encounters which I have planned for them through dumb luck. Because one of the players is a wild sorcerer, so he has wild magic. And for some freaking reason, he is the luckiest when his magic goes wild. One time he was able to teleport 20 feet as a bonus action for like 6 turns. And then another time he couldn't be intoxicated for like 19 days. And that, my friend, was the most annoying thing to handle. But at the same time, it was really funny. As I said, a bunch of chaotic neutral characters really kept me on my toes. And of course, because I really wanted to keep this campaign for prosperity, because it was my first finished campaign, I recorded all of it. And I want to hear your guys' feedback on if I should actually publish all of these clips. Because, like, the audio recordings of the sessions range from, like, 2-ish hours to 3.5 hours. And I'm guessing by the end of the campaign, there will be, like, 15 recordings, 15 different episodes, 15 different sessions. And I'm not sure if you guys want to actually, like, listen to that. So I want to hear your feedback. Do you want me to put it as, like, a podcast on Spotify? Be warned, it's not the most kid-friendly thing in the world. There is language. As I said, chaotic neutral characters. Many of the players are also leaning on the chaotic neutral side. No offense, guys. As I said, I appreciate you all. You all are great people. But, am I wrong? Anyway, if you guys want me to actually publish that as a Spotify podcast, I definitely could do that. And I feel like it would be a good thing to keep for prosperity, and it's freaking funny D&D. It's like over 45 hours of D&D. What more could you ask for? Anyway, I think that's about all I'm going to say about the campaign as of now. Once it actually concludes, which, by the way, starting next week, we are going to be doing weekly sessions, so it will be very soon that we actually conclude the campaign. I will definitely make a video on the conclusion of the campaign, my final thoughts on it, after we've actually finished it, beaten the final boss, had a nice conclusion, and yeah, I'm really excited for it. It's been a great campaign. It's been a great group, and it's not like the group's gonna go anywhere. Anyway, if you all enjoyed this quarantine update, then please be sure to hit that like button and that subscribe button. And if you want to see more content like this, then please be sure to hit that notification bell so you don't miss a single one of my uploads. Anyway, you all have a great day. Keep on creating, stay safe, and I will see you in the next video.